What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. Hello, how are you doing? I apologize for last week not doing a video. I didn't really do much. I mean, I did a few videos like early on last week for JMD, but I didn't do any other videos last week because the kids were on fall break. So I was trying to take time with them and not trying to be taken up. Trying to do, it's stuck in here doing videos or something while they were out there or whatever. I want to take time with them. So I apologize for not getting anything, because I was going to do at least like one or two videos, but I just didn't get around to it. And then they were out because today is Tuesday. They were also had an extra day yesterday. So that's the reason why I didn't do anything yesterday. Plus, I had some stuff that wound up going down. I had to go like 2 hours away. My daughter had a wreck and stuff like that at college. It was a whole thing late last night. So I didn't even get back home till after midnight last night. Anyways, but she's fine. Everything's fine, and good. So we got a lot of catching up to do. Have a lot of catching up to do. So I don't want to take too much time trying to do the whole whatever. If you're new here, welcome to ClearTalk. Everything's there. If you want to check out like more from the channel, please do so. Subscribe, all the good stuff. Check out my other channels as well. That would be amazing. Drum play, puzzling. Subscribe to those would be fantastic. Like, share, comment, all the algorithm stuff. That would be amazing. There's links there for support if you want to give any support, whether it's ongoing or one-time stuff. If you want to become a part of JMD Nation, that'd be amazing. And I any support you give is very much appreciated. I would love it to help this channel keep going, help us keep growing, because I would love to do this like full-time. I would love to do this all the time. I mean, I'm technically doing it full-time right now, but I would like to continue doing it full-time. So all right, what we're going to do in this video, we got a lot of stuff to catch up on. I know this is kind of old news at this point because news just goes crazy with this administration. But we're going to look at the general's speech that Hegseth gave. Okay, we're going to do a video on Hegseth, and then we're also going to do a video on Trump and what he said. This is I have come to understand, and I hope you have as well, that I am not really a highlights kind of guy. I considered, trying to hit a couple highlights and stuff like that, big things that he said and just talk about those things. But I'm just not really a highlights kind of person. I feel like we should watch the whole thing, because I think the whole thing is important. And so you also don't think that I'm trying to cherry pick things, and that part of the speech is amazing and wonderful, and but I'm just cherry picking a couple of things that I didn't like, and we're going to go over the entire speech. Okay, so this is going to be kind of a long video, but hey, another thing, this is kind of a long format channel, right? I mean, usually my videos are probably around 30 minutes long. 30 minutes to an hour, most of them. Every now and then I can hit one around 20, something like that, but most of the time it's kind of longer. So bear with us. This I think it's good for us to look at the entire thing, and not look like we're trying to cherry pick. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to watch the entire thing. So already taken up. Already taken up 4 minutes, so let's get to it. Let me swap over. All right, well, this is the very beginning of it. This is the entire speech. This is from ABC News, their broadcast of it. So we're going to listen. Let's go.
Welcome to the War Department, because the era of the Department of Defense is over.
I know. I'm immediately stopping this. But I've already listened to a lot of this. I haven't listened to every single second, but I have listened to a lot of it. That really, honestly, right there sums up this entire speech. The Department of War. And it's becoming more and more distinctly, I identified that there was a reason why they decided to change it to the Department of War instead of the Department of Defense. It is clear as day. If you still had question, all right, they are about war. Period. Okay, let's go on.
You see, the motto of my first platoon was those who long for peace must prepare for war. This is, of course, not a new idea. This crowd knows that. The origin.
This is the, to have peace, you must have war kind of ideology that I have over and over again, like stated, is just, it does not work. It does not happen. Okay. You do not create peace by destroying, people, by killing people. All right. It never works that way. All it does is cause more hostility. It causes aggression that, builds over time, and eventually it's going to come back at you. I mean, even if you do thwart and have this sort of hallucinated, peace for a short period of time, people are still going to hold on to that. They're going to hold on to the negative part, that their, family or whatever was killed, that their, stuff was destroyed, and all these different, the animosity is going to come back around at some point. So it's even if you want to argue that it's peace, it's temporary peace. It's temporary imaginative peace. All right. So anyways,
dates to the 4th century Rome and has been repeated ever since, including by our first commander-in-chief, George Washington, the first leader of the War Department. It captures a simple yet profound truth. To ensure peace, we must prepare for war. From this moment forward, the only mission of the newly restored Department of War is this: warfighting, preparing for war and preparing to win, unrelenting and uncompromising in that pursuit. Not because we want war. No one here wants war.
Oh, yeah, you do.
But it's because we love peace. We love peace for our fellow citizens. They deserve peace, and they rightfully expect us to deliver it.
That's the reason why you're trying to send National Guard and turn National Guard federal, and putting ICE on people, capturing them. Come on, all the stuff that we've seen where these ICE agents and stuff are attacking protesters and everything. Like, come on, whatever. I guess one thing I need to bring about here real quick, and I should have did it off the start. This in itself, this whole speech, this whole gathering here, this meeting, is unprecedented. Like, what they did here was they brought in all the top generals and admirals out of their posts all across the country or whatever, and brought them to a central localized area, central area, which is not something that you typically do. This is not some annual thing that's done all the time. This was all out of the norm, bringing them all together. These generals came here not knowing what in the world they were coming for. These are top generals. These are people who have been in the military, whatever position, branch, whatever, for years. They've went through training. They know their positions and know their what their oath is, know what their purpose is, and they were brought here not knowing what was going on, not knowing why they were brought here. There was speculation about all these different, what are we, are they about to try to get us to do some kind of loyalty oath or something like that? Like this is whole, and while they didn't go like literally have them, swear or something, an oath to their like ideology or to Trump himself or whatever. Like they didn't literally do that, but you could argue that the speech itself, even just Hegseth's speech itself, comes right up to that line. Like almost to the point of, we don't have to ask you to give an oath of loyalty. We expect it, like, without even asking. And if you don't like it, you know where the door is, kind of thing. And it is just, in my opinion, is disrespectful. And it just you'll see for yourself. Let's go.
Our number one job, of course, is to be strong so that we can prevent war in the first place. The president talks about it all the time. It's called peace through strength. And as history teaches us, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it. That's why pacifism.
You only deserve peace if you're willing to wage war. What kind of mentality is that? That you don't deserve peace unless you're willing to go to war, unless you're willing to destroy things, destruction, killing, murder. Like, what? You don't deserve peace unless you're willing to kill people. What? What kind of? I can't. I am getting so. We aren't even 2 minutes in. We're not even 2 minutes in.
Is so naive and dangerous. It ignores human nature and it ignores human history. Either you protect your people and your sovereignty, or you will be subservient to something or someone. It's a truth as old as time. And since waging war is so costly,
that's the problem with this type of mentality, is that you think the world. Not only do you think the world has not changed over whatever, it's a whole entire existence, thousands of years of whatever you think it is. Not only do you're set in the fact that the world is the world. There's no changing it. There's no improving. There's no learning from history. There's no learning to get along. There's no that we must. It's all a survival thing. Period. And somebody's always out to get us. Somebody's always out there to try to, like, this type of mentality is what continuously over and over and over and over ruins this not only just this country, but every country around the world, the entire world that has leadership with this type of mentality. Like, it is so frustrating that we in year 2025 we cannot decide. Like, it's insanity. It's doing the same shit over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Like, suddenly, after all this time of war and war and war and war, because in the name of peace, in the name of peace, in the name of peace, eventually we'll finally have peace after we've done destroyed everybody, I guess. Like, it's oh, what? Oh my God.
in blood and treasure, we owe our republic a military that will win any war we choose or any war that is thrust upon us. Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O. If necessary, our troops can translate that for you.
Fuck around and find out. They basically just threaten anybody.
Another way to put it is peace through strength, brought to you by the warrior ethos. And we are restoring both. As President Trump has said, and he's right, we have the strongest, most powerful, most lethal, and most prepared military on the planet. That is true, full stop. Nobody can touch us. It's not even close. This is true largely because of the historic investments that he made in his first term.
Remember what he said there. Most prepared, the best, period.
But it's also true
full
because
stop.
of the leaders in this room and the incredible troops that you
Remember
all
that.
lead. But the world, and as the chairman mentioned, our enemies get a vote. You feel it, I feel it. This is a moment of urgency, mounting urgency. Enemies gather, threats grow. There is no time for games. We must be prepared. If we're going to prevent and avoid war, we must prepare now. We are the strength part of peace through strength. And either we're ready to win or we are not. You see, this urgent moment, of course, requires more troops, more munitions, more drones, more Patriots, more submarines,
more. It's the reason why we have $1 trillion.
More AI in everything and ahead of the curve. More cyber effects, more counter-UAS, more space, more speed. America is the strongest, but we need to get stronger and quickly.
More.
The time is now.
We already spend over twice what anybody else spends.
The moment requires restoring and refocusing our defense industrial base, our shipbuilding industry, and onshoring all critical components. It requires, as President Trump has done, getting our allies and partners to step up and share the burden. America cannot do everything. The free world requires allies with real hard power, real military leadership, and real military capabilities. The War Department is tackling and prioritizing all of these things. And I'll be giving a speech next month that'll showcase the speed, innovation, and generational acquisition reforms we are undertaking urgently. Likewise, the nature of the threats we face in our hemisphere and in deterring China is another speech for another day, coming soon. This speech.
Wow, we're excited for
today,
that.
As I drink my coffee. This speech today is about people. And it's about culture. The topic today is about the nature of ourselves. Because no plan, no program, no reform, no formation will ultimately succeed unless we have the right people and the right culture at the War Department.
The right
if I've learned
people
one
and the
core
right
lesson
culture.
in my 8 months in this job, it's that personnel is policy.
Ooh.
Personnel is policy. The best way to take care of troops is to give them good leaders committed to the warfighting culture of the department. Not perfect leaders, good leaders. Competent, qualified, professional, agile, aggressive, innovative, risk-taking, apolitical, faithful to their oath and to the Constitution. Eugene Sledge, in his World War II memoir, wrote, quote, "War is brutish, inglorious, and a terrible waste. Combat leaves an indelible mark on those who are forced to endure it. The only redeeming factors are my comrades' incredible bravery and their devotion to each other. In combat, there are thousands of variables, as I learned in Iraq and Afghanistan, and as so many of you did in so many more places. Leaders can only control about 3 of them. You control how well you're trained, mostly how well you're equipped, and the last variable is how well you lead. After that, you're on your own. Our warfighters are entitled to be led by the best and most capable leaders. That is who we need you all to be. Even then, in combat, even if you do everything right, you may still lose people because the enemy always gets a vote. We have a sacred duty to ensure that our warriors are led by the most capable and qualified combat leaders. This is one thing you and I can control. And we owe it to the force to deliver it. For too long, we have simply not done that. The military has been forced by foolish and reckless politicians to focus on the wrong things. In many ways, this speech is about fixing decades of decay. Some of it obvious, some of it hidden.
But wait, I thought we had the most prepared, best military in the world. If we have the most prepared, best military in the world, undoubtedly, then we shouldn't have any problems, right? It sounds to me like you're arguing that we're not prepared now, or that we're not the best military. Or I guess somebody's going to tell me, well, he's just saying we're not perfect. We have problems. We are still the best, though. Okay.
Or as the chairman has put it, we are clearing out the debris, removing the distractions, clearing the way for leaders to be leaders. You might say we're ending the war on warriors. I heard someone wrote a book about that.
Oh.
For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons, based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. We've pretended that combat arms and non-combat arms are the same thing. We've weeded out so-called toxic leaders under the guise of double-blind psychology assessments, promoting risk-averse, go-along-to-get-along conformists instead. You name it, the department did it. Foolish and reckless political leaders set the wrong compass heading, and we lost our way. We became the woke department, but not anymore. Right now, I'm looking out at a sea of Americans who made a choice when they were young men and young women to do something most Americans will not, to serve something greater than yourselves, to fight for God and country, for freedom and the Constitution. You made a choice to serve when others did not, and I commend you. You are truly the best of America. But this does not mean, and this goes for all of us, that our path to this auditorium on this day was a straight line, or that the conditions of the formations we lead are where we want them to be. You love your country, and we love this uniform, which is why we must do better. We just have to be honest. We have to say with our mouths what we see with our eyes, to just tell it like it is in plain English, to point out the obvious things right in front of us. That's what leaders must do. We cannot go another day without directly addressing the plank in our own eye, without addressing the problems in our own commands and in our own formations. This administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses.
No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses, because we got a lot of dudes in dresses out there on the battlefield. That's what we have going on. No more identity months. So let's not. So let's not give, celebration or whatever to anybody who decide. Like, I mean, just the idea that somebody of an identity, like if we're talking about race or whatever, would even decide to that should in itself. And the DEI shit.
No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more
climate change. No more climate change.
To remove the dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship.
No more climate change worship. Let's just pretend like climate change is not a thing. Let's continue to do that. Let's continue to not worry about those kinds of things. The military that's a way of the military being able to prepare for certain situations, is understanding climate change, understanding what types of environmental impacts that are being made that was going to cause certain situations where our military would need to be prepared to go in or to handle that situation. Whether it is because of the climate or whether it is because of how the climate is affecting a certain area, a group of people, or whatever the case. What do you... This is not like... This is so stupid.
No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit. I've made it my mission to uproot the obvious distractions that made us less capable and less lethal. That said, the War Department requires the next step. Underneath the woke garbage is a deeper problem, and a more important problem that we are fixing and fixing fast. Common sense is back at the White House, so making the necessary changes is actually pretty straightforward. President Trump
expects it. This sounds annoying.
And the litmus test for these changes, it's pretty simple.
Litmus test.
Would I want my eldest son, who is 15 years old, eventually joining the types of formations that we are currently wielding? If in any way the answer to that is no, or even yes, but, then we're doing something wrong. Because my son is no more important than any other American citizen who dons the cloth of our nation. He is no more important than your son. All precious souls made in the image and likeness of God. Every parent deserves to know that their son or their daughter that joins our ranks is entering exactly the kind of unit that the Secretary of War would want his son to join. Think of it as the golden rule test. Jesus said, do unto others that which you would have done unto yourself. It's the ultimate.
Wow. That's an interesting one to throw in there. Whoa. Do unto others as you would have them done unto yourself. In a conversation about the War Department and being prepared for war, being prepared to destroy people and their lives in order to gain a so-called peace. Is that what you would want them to do unto you? Would you want them to be prepared and go into war with you for them to gain peace? Bro. Bro, that is wow, I did not even know that was in here. That is wild. That is so wild.
Simplifying test of truth. The new War Department golden rule is this: do unto your unit as you would have done unto your own child's unit. Would you want him serving with fat or unfit or undertrained troops? Or alongside people who can't meet basic standards? Or in a unit where standards were lowered so certain types of troops could make it in? In a unit where leaders were promoted for reasons other than merit, performance, and warfighting? The answer is not just no, it's hell no. This means at the War Department, first and foremost, we must restore a ruthless, dispassionate, and common sense application of standards. I don't want my son serving alongside troops who are out of shape, or in combat unit with females who can't meet the same combat arms physical standards as men, or troops who are not fully proficient on their assigned weapons, platform, or task, or under a leader who was the first, but not the best. Standards must be uniform, gender neutral, and high. If not, they're not standards. They're just suggestions. Suggestions that get our sons and daughters killed. When it comes to combat arms units, and there are many different...
No. War. Fucking war is what gets your sons and daughters killed. Bro. Even when if he's arguing this is the make America great, whatever, like even if you were arguing that we have that at one point that this was the idea that we were the best of the best and that we trained and that everybody was like, and then we went away from that, we become this woke thing and we've went away from that. Even when we were, in your opinion, the best and we had the best trained and we were like, the strongest, the most lethal, the manliest of manliest armies in the world or whatever the case, people still fucking died. Why? Because they were in a fucking war. Come on. The idea of the Department of Defense was for us to not go to war. Like that was, even though we are, that argument was not found a lot of times because we still had leadership that would want to push us to war. It didn't matter if it was Republican or Democrat. Both of them have done it. But the idea is to get to a point or to not go to war. That should be the direction, the path, is to develop a relationship and working like functionality around the world where we don't have these conflicts with other people, and we can work through things strategically and come to agreements to prevent war. Oh my gosh.
Different stripes across our joint force. The era of politically correct, overly sensitive, don't hurt anyone's feelings leadership ends right now.
We're back to hurting people's feelings. We're back to not giving a shit.
Either you can meet the standard, either you can do the job, either you are disciplined, fit, and trained, or you are out. And that's why today, at my direction, and this is the first of 10 Department of War directives that are arriving at your commands as we speak and in your inbox. Today, at my direction, each service will ensure that every requirement for every combat MOS, for every designated combat arms position, returns to the highest male standard only.
Male standard only.
Because this job is life or death. Standards must be met. And not just met, at every level we should seek to exceed the standard, to push the envelope, to compete. It's common sense and core to who we are and what we do. It should be in our DNA. Today, at my direction, we are also adding a combat field test for combat arms units that must be executable in any environment at any time and with combat equipment. These tests, they'll look familiar. They'll resemble the Army Expert Physical Fitness Assessment or the Marine Corps Combat Fitness Test. I'm also directing that warfighters in combat jobs execute their service fitness test at a gender-neutral, age-normed male standard scored above 70%. It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are.
Aren't all the generals and admirals right there in that room? And you just told them that we don't like seeing fat generals and admirals. fat. I don't even know what his definition of fat is. These people have worked and dedicated their lives to our military positions, have worked up to generals and admirals. They have done their time. Like, and just because they may have put on some weight because of age or whatever, doesn't mean that they are lazy, doesn't mean that they can't do their job, doesn't mean that they can't. They are leaders now. Even if they have put on some weight, I'm pretty sure they're probably still in pretty decent shape. Probably a lot of them could even probably kick this guy's ass. But he has the audacity to sit there and badmouth after saying that we have the most amazing, most prepared, amazing, military in the world.
So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test. But today, at my direction, every member of the Joint Force at every rank is required to take a PT test twice a year.
Now, this is an interesting idea. So you're having everybody at every rank of the military, has to pass a PT test, has to meet the weight, height standards for the military. Okay. What is President Trump? Is he not the executive? Is he not the executive top-ranking person in charge of our military? So are you going to have him have to meet these PT tests? I'm just asking. I'm just wondering. Like, if all members, everybody has to be fit and ready. I mean, clearly, in order for generals and admirals to make good decisions and be prepared for our war realms, they must be fit in order to do so. If they're not fit, then they can't qualify or be good enough. They don't meet the merit of, knowledge and ability to lead anyone in any time. Apparently, they need to be fit because, then that means the president shouldn't be fit as well. That means if he doesn't meet these standards, then he is not qualified to mentally and cognitively, skillfully lead our military, make decisions for our military. I'm just saying. Does that not make sense? Is it, or is 2 and 2 adding up here? I'm just saying.
As well as meet height and weight requirements twice a year, every year of service. Also today, at my direction, every warrior across our joint force is required to do PT every duty day. It should be common sense. I mean, most units do that already, but we're codifying it. And we're not talking like hot yoga and stretching. Real hard PT, either as a unit or as an individual.
I'm pretty sure.
At every level.
Sure this motherfucker, this alcoholic drunk ass motherfucker here does, PT every day. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. Of course. He does it. He does it while he's got alcohol on his breath. I'm pretty sure he does.
From the Joint Chiefs to everyone in this room to the youngest private, leaders set the standard. And so many of you do this already. Active, Guard, and Reserve. This also means grooming standards. No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Because it's like the broken windows theory of policing. It's like when you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes.
Because, only the best warriors are clean-shaven warriors. Finely cut hair warriors. Men who look like this guy. He if you don't look like him, you're not the best warrior. I recall some of the best warriors in history, if he wants to talk about history. Even in our early wars, World War I, World War II, Revolutionary War, whatever, there were people with beards, long hair. Like, did they not meet standards? Did that make them less of a warrior? This is the stupidest stuff. This is the stupidest, pickiest, most ignorant. This is all about image. It's about image. It's not about skill. None of this has to do with skill. This is about image. What we look like, what we appear like. And in his mind, if we don't have an entire military that looks like him, we don't look like a military. I'm sorry, but if I come across anybody, anywhere, a guy that looks like this guy versus someone who has a long ass beard, long hair, rugged looking, whatever, which one do you think I'm going to be the most step back from? Who is going to be a little bit more intimidating to me? It sure as fuck ain't going to be this clean ass motherfucker. Because what do you always think of? And it's stereotypical, but what do you always think of when you see a clean ass shaven person? They got them soft hands, right? They got them soft hands. I know the stereotypical is bullshit, but nevertheless, that's what you think. Oh, look at that soft motherfucker. He's so clean shaven. He's got his hair all pulled back. He's got to have them soft fucking hands. He's got the lotioned up hands. Don't tell me you come on. Come on. This is so stupid. This is so stupid. No beardos. No beardos. Come on. This has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not you have the skill to be in a war. Just like making your fucking bed every day perfectly doesn't have. Some of these actions that they've done, that they do in the. You talk about woke. Man, this is so, bruh. It has nothing to do with it. You can be clean shaven. You can be the best motherfucking bed maker in the world. Doesn't mean that when you get out there on the field, you can actually perform to a standard of someone who needs to perform in that moment. Come on. It's just the illusions of what makes a good warrior, or what makes a man, or what makes a whatever. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Oh my God.
We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Because it's like the broken windows theory of policing. It's like when you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes. So you have to address the small stuff. This is on duty, in the field, and in the rear. If you want a beard, you can join Special Forces. If not, then shave. We don't have a military full of Nordic pagans.
Yeah, well, those motherfuckers would take out probably our military if they were put on the same level as far as military might or whatever. I guarantee you those Nordic pagans would whip your ass 1-to-1 combat. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. Come on. You're trying to argue that those Nordic pagans were not real men? They were not warriors? Some of the most feared people in history with the types of acts and stuff that would make you quiver at the thought of it, of how they took care of people, or what punishments that they dealt out. Bruh, they were the most gore lethal people in history. And that's not good enough. What are we? This is, bro. Shut the fuck up.
But unfortunately, we have had leaders who either refuse to call BS and enforce standards, or leaders who felt like they were not allowed to enforce standards.
This motherfucker probably can't even grow a full beard. And that's the reason why.
And that's why today, at my direction, the era of unprofessional appearance is over. No more beardos. The era of rampant and ridiculous shaving profiles is done. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new profession. I sincerely appreciate the proactive efforts the secretaries have already taken in some of those areas, service secretaries. And these directives are intended to simply accelerate those efforts. On the topic of standards, allow me a few words to talk about toxic leaders. Upholding and demanding high standards is not toxic. Enforcing high standards, not toxic leadership. Leading warfighters toward the goals of high, gender-neutral, and uncompromising standards in order to forge a cohesive, formidable, and lethal Department of War is not toxic. It is our duty, consistent with our constitutional oath. Real toxic leadership is endangering subordinates with low standards. Real toxic leadership is promoting people based on immutable characteristics or quotas instead of based on merit. Real toxic leadership is promoting destructive ideologies that are an anathema to the Constitution and the laws of nature and nature's God, as Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence. The definition of toxic has been turned upside down, and we're correcting that. That's why today, at my direction, we're undertaking a full review of the department's definitions of so-called toxic leadership, bullying, and hazing, to empower leaders to enforce standards without fear of retribution or second guessing. Of course, you can't do nasty bullying and hazing. We're talking about words like bullying and hazing and toxic. They've been weaponized and bastardized inside our formations, undercutting commanders and NCOs. No more. Setting, achieving, and maintaining high standards is what you all do. And if that makes me toxic, then so be it. Second, today at our direction, we're ensuring that every service, every unit, every schoolhouse, and every form of professional military education conduct an immediate review of their standards. Now, we've done this in many places already, but today it goes across the entire Department of War. Any place where tried and true physical standards were altered, especially since 2015 when combat arms standards were changed to ensure females could qualify, must be returned to their original standard. Other standards have been manipulated to hit racial quotas as well, which is just as unacceptable. This too must end. Merit only. The president talks about it all the time. Merit-based. Here are two basic frameworks.
That means white men. That's what that means. That's what that means. White men. If you don't look like him, you don't meet the standards.
I urge you to pursue in this process. Standards I call, my staff's heard all about them, the 1990 test and the E6 test. The 1990s test is simple. What were the military standards in 1990? And if they have changed, tell me why. Was it a necessary change based on the evolving landscape of combat? Or was the change due to a softening, weakening, or gender-based pursuit of other priorities? 1990s seems to be as good a place to start as any. And the E6 test. Ask yourself, does what you're doing make the leadership, accountability, and lethality efforts of an E6, or frankly an O3, does it make it easier or more complicated? Does the change empower staff sergeants, petty officers, and tech sergeants to get back to basics? The answer should be a resounding yes. The E6 test, or O3 test, clarifies a lot, and it clarifies quickly. Because war does not care if you're a man or a woman. Neither does the enemy. Nor does the weight of your rucksack, the size of an artillery round, or the body weight of a casualty on the battlefield who must be carried. This, and I want to be very clear about this, this is not about preventing women from serving. We very much value the impact of female troops. Our female officers and NCOs are the absolute best in the world. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no...
How is it gender neutral if you set it so high that women can't handle it? I mean, if that's your argument, like, how is it gender neutral?
Women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. That is not the intent, but it could be the result, so be it. It will also mean that weak men won't qualify because we're not playing games. This is combat. This is life or death. As we all know, this is you versus an enemy hell-bent on killing you. To be an effective, lethal fighting force,
you're hell-bent on killing
you must
them.
trust that the warrior alongside you in battle is capable, truly physically capable of doing what is necessary under fire. You know this is the only standard you would want for your kids and for your grandkids. Apply the War Department Golden Rule, the 1990 test, and the E6 test, and it's really hard to go wrong. Third, we are attacking and ending the walking on eggshells and zero defect command culture.
This one's...
A risk-averse culture means officers execute not to lose instead of to win. A risk-averse culture means NCOs are not empowered to enforce standards. Commanders and NCOs don't take necessary risks or make tough adjustments for fear of rocking the boat or making mistakes. A blemish-free record is what peacetime leaders covet the most, which is the worst of all incentives. We, as senior leaders, need to end the poisonous culture of risk aversion and empower our NCOs at all levels to enforce standards. Truth be told, for the most part, we don't need new standards. We just need to reestablish a culture where enforcing standards is possible. And that's why today, at my direction, I'm issuing new policies that will overhaul the IG, EO, and MEO processes. I call it the No More Walking on Eggshells policy. We are liberating commanders and NCOs. We are liberating you. We are overhauling an Inspector General process, the IG, that has been weaponized, putting complainers, ideologues, and poor performers in the driver's seat. We're doing the same with the equal opportunity and military equal opportunity policies, the EO and MEO at our department. No more frivolous complaints, no more anonymous complaints, no more repeat complainants, no more smearing reputations, no more endless waiting, no more legal limbo, no more sidetracking careers, no more walking on eggshells. Of course, being a racist has been illegal in our formation since 1948. The same goes for sexual harassment. Both are wrong and illegal. Those kinds of infractions will be ruthlessly enforced. But telling someone to shave or get a haircut or to get in shape or to fix their uniform or to show up on time or to work hard, that's exactly the kind of discrimination we want. We are not civilians. You are not civilians. You are set apart for a distinct purpose. So we as a department need to stop acting and thinking like civilians and get back to basics and put the power back in the hands of commanders and NCOs. Commanders and NCOs who make life and death decisions. Commanders and NCOs who enforce standards and ensure readiness. Commanders and NCOs who in this War Department have to look in the mirror and have to pass the golden rule test. My kids, your kids, America's sons and daughters. So I urge you all here today and those watching, take this guidance and run with it. The core of this speech is the 10 directives we're announcing today. They were written for you, for Army leadership, for Navy leadership, for Marine Corps leadership, for Air Force leadership.
So he says, no more, he basically, it's kind of a Weasley way of wording stuff, because he states, we don't like blemished records. We don't like these anonymous, complaints and things like this. We don't want, people making a big deal about things, arguing that race and sexual harassment has always been, illegal in the military. But yet, we all know that those things have not been adhered to, as far as reprimands or whatever, like, until we put things in place for people to be able to make those complaints. It's you already have this nature where someone up underneath someone, as far as like level, status, or whatever in the military, doesn't want to argue. That was the problem before, is that you felt like you couldn't say nothing against them, or that you would get, reprimanded back on. And so things were constantly happening. Sexual harassment, racism, and everything else was constantly happening to people, without any reprimand against them, without any consequences. So that's the reason why these types of things were put into place, for people to be able to make complaints anonymously or whatever, so that they could go and be investigated, without that threat of being reprimanded on by the person that they were complaining against. Because we had such a long time where, like I said, people were, things were happening to them, but they felt like they couldn't go to anybody about it because of this, we cover each other kind of mentality. Somebody up above, they all covered each other or whatever, or, and so it was kind of a hush-hush kind of thing. Protecting each other. But now, with those departments put in place where you can and so you can so that you can make those complaints and make those, bring those things to light. There isn't as much protectionism going on, and these people were actually being, and it's even that wasn't perfect. It was still stuff happening. So basically, I mean, this whole speech comes off like, we want to get back to where you have to meet this, like I said, white man, clean shaven, ideologue like military image. Like I said, you look like this guy, and make it harder for women, make it harder for I don't even know what argument he was making for like racial benefits or whatever, like as far as meeting standards. I don't even know exactly what that was even reference to, but that's basically where he wants to be able to go back to. We can say what we want to you. We can push you down. We can beat you down. We can call you whatever we want to. We can do whatever we want to you, and you just have to take it, and you can't say nothing about it, like or complain about it. And just deal with it. Which is the whole reason why a lot of people were not going into the military, because they didn't want to deal with that kind of shit. That's the reason why I didn't want to go into the military. Because even if I wanted to like learn skills and even meet a physical requirement or whatever and learn skills to handle a combat situation, if my to protect my country, protect our freedom or whatever the case, like I did not care. I would not have been able to take being yelled at in my face and talked down to like I was a piece of trash or something, which is what we have a long history of in military now all across the world. I mean, it's just unnecessary. It's like I can be a skilled person without you talking to me disrespectfully. Like the idea behind just disrespecting somebody makes them tougher. It's the whole bullying aspect. I'm bullying you to make you tougher. I'm bullying you to make you a better person, to be able to handle yourself. But like that doesn't make somebody be able to handle something better by bullying them. I mean, it's amazing to me. We've gone through this whole idea of trying to get away from the bully aspect when it comes to school and in our childhoods, and being kinder to each other. We try, and this is he comes from this era. We're trying to learn how to be kinder to one another, and work together better to stop bullying and talk through things. Use your words, not your anger, but yet. And that has little by little that's the idea that's worked into our military, that it's unnecessary for have this type of, like, you can still have the same effect. You can still have the same results without this bully, culture. But he wants to go back to that. He wants to eliminate all that. Let's go back to bullying. Like it's like, I feel like he would be perfectly okay with somebody bullying the hell out of somebody in school, like your child being bullied, beaten up on every day. Like he would think that was good. He would think that was toughening them up. And if you can't take it, then go somewhere else. Go to another school. If you can't take it, this bully runs this school. If you can't take it, go to another school. Or become a bully yourself. Like that's This is the type of mentality that's running our country right now. So if this is what you like, then congratulations. You have turned us into a bully, as if we weren't already, but you're just making us more and more of a bully.
The most, which is the worst of all incentives. We as senior leaders need to end the poisonous culture of risk aversion and empower our NCOs at all levels to enforce standards. EO and MEO process, general process, the IG, that has been weaponized. Complaints, no more anonymous complaints, no more repeat complainants, no more smearing reputations, no more endless waiting, no more legal limbo, no more sidetracking careers, no more walking on eggshells.
We want to be able to do what we want without any consequences. Okay. There you go. Yeah, I thought they were wanting to give incentives for more people to come into the military, to grow the military. I feel like this kind of stuff is going to once again push people to not want to join the military.
Of course, being a racist has been illegal in our formation since 1948. We are not civilians. You are not civilians. You are set apart for a distinct purpose. So we, as a department, need to stop acting and thinking like civilians and get back to basics and put the power back in the hands of commanders and NCOs. Commanders and NCOs who make life and death decisions. Commanders and NCOs who enforce standards and ensure readiness. Commanders and NCOs who in this War Department have to look in the mirror and have to pass the golden rule test. My kids, your kids, America's sons and daughters. So I urge you all here today and those watching, take this guidance and run with it. The core of this speech is the 10 directives we're announcing today. They were written for you, for Army leadership, for Navy leadership, for Marine Corps leadership, for Air Force leadership, Space Force leadership. These directives are designed to take the monkey off your back and put you, the leadership, back in the driver's seat. Move out with urgency because we have your back. I have your back. And the Commander-in-Chief has your back. And when we give you this guidance, we know mistakes will be made. It's the nature of leadership. But you should not pay for earnest mistakes for your entire career. And that's why today, at my direction, we're making changes to the retention of adverse information on personnel records that will allow leaders with forgivable, earnest, or minor infractions to not be encumbered by those infractions in perpetuity. People make honest mistakes, and our mistakes should not define an entire career. Otherwise, we only try not to make mistakes, and that's not the business we're in. We need risk takers and aggressive leaders and a culture that supports you. Fourth, at the War Department, promotions across the Joint Force will be based on one thing: merit. Colorblind, gender-neutral, merit-based. The entire promotion process, including evaluations of warfighting capabilities, is being thoroughly re-examined. We've already done a lot in this area, but more changes are coming soon. We'll promote top-performing officers and NCOs faster and get rid of poor performers more quickly. Evaluations, education, and field exercises will become real evaluations, not box checks, for every one of us at every level. These same reforms happened before World War II as well. General George Marshall and Secretary of War Henry Stimson did the same thing. And we won a world war because of it. As it happens, when he started the job, Chairman Kane gave me a frame and a photo to hang in my office. A matching frame and photo hangs in his. It's a photo of Marshall and Stimson preparing for World War II. Those two leaders famously kept the door open between their offices. for the entirety of the war.
So you're
They
saying
worked
we're
together, civilian
needing to
and
prepare for
uniform,
another
every
world
single day.
war?
Chairman Kaine and I do the same. There is no daylight between us. Our doors are always open. Our job together is to ensure our military is led by the very best, ready to answer the nation's call. Fifth, as you have seen, and the media has obsessed over, I have fired a number of senior officers since taking over. The previous chairman, other members of the Joint Chiefs, combatant commanders, and other commanders. The rationale for me has been straightforward. It's nearly impossible to change a culture with the same people who helped create or even benefited from that culture, even if that culture was created by a previous president and previous secretary. My approach has been simple. When in doubt, assess the situation, follow your gut, and if it's the best for the military, make a change. We all serve at the pleasure of the president every single day.
Pleasure of the president.
But in many ways, it's not their fault. It's not your fault. As foolish and reckless as the woke department was, those officers were following elected political leadership. An entire generation of generals and admirals were told that they must parrot the insane fallacy that, quote, our diversity is our strength. Of course, we know our unity is our strength. They had to put out dizzying DEI and LGBTQI+ statements. They were told females and males are the same thing, or that males who think they're females is totally normal. They were told that we need a green fleet and electric tanks. They were told to kick out Americans who refuse an emergency vaccine. They followed civilian policies set by foolish and reckless political leaders. Our job.
The vaccine thing, like, so he would have rathered had a whole bunch of sick ass military personnel instead of forcing them to take a vaccine that would benefit them. All percentage, all data testing showed that it was more effective than ineffective at preventing or minimizing the effects of COVID. That's the reason why it was put in place for them to take it. Just like we take vaccines and stuff for all kinds of other stuff in the military because of where we might be going or whatever the case. Like that's, he would have rathered them not be forced, and we had more potential for sick ass people in the military. But the possibilities of, because they got sick or more sick than what they would have gotten if they would have taken it, and would have had effects that lasted longer, even the idea behind long COVID and stuff like that, which is a thing, that's what he would have rather had. So fucking stupid.
My job has been to determine which leaders simply did what they must to answer the prerogatives of civilian leadership, and which leaders are truly invested in the woke department and therefore incapable of embracing the war department.
I guess in his mind that, if you were strong enough to be in the military, if you were man enough, if you met our standards, then COVID would not have affected you. You would have been impenetrable for COVID. And if COVID took you out, then you didn't deserve to be in here in the first place. I guess that's what his mentality would have been. Wow.
Department and executing new lawful orders. That's it. It's that simple. So for the past 8 months, we've gotten a good look under the hood of our officer corps. We've done our best to thoroughly assess the human terrain. We've had to make trade-offs and some difficult decisions. It's more of an art than a science. We have been and will continue to be judicious, but also expeditious. The new compass heading is clear. Out with the Shirellis, the Mackenzies, and the Millies, and in with the Stockdales, the Schwarzkopfs, and the Pattons. More leadership changes will be made, of that I'm certain. Not because we want to, but because we must. Once again, this is life and death. The sooner we have the right people, the sooner we can advance the right policies. Personnel is policy.
The right policies.
But I look out at this
What are the right policies?
and I see great Americans. Leaders who have given decades to our great republic at great sacrifice to yourselves and to your families. But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign. We would thank you for your service. But I suspect
if you do not agree with what I am saying, then you're not good enough to be in our military and you should just resign. Even though you have spent decades, as he just said, training, learning, dedicating yourself to this military and being a part of the progression of this military and what it is today. If you have a problem with what he's saying, if you have a problem with his ideology, then just leave. Respectfully. Wow.
I know the overwhelming majority of you feel the opposite. These words make your hearts full.
What he's basically saying, I know you fat ones that I was just talking about a minute ago, you probably don't agree with me, so.
You love the War Department because you love what you do, the profession of arms. You are hereby liberated to be an apolitical, hard-charging, no-nonsense, constitutional leader that you joined the military to be. We need you locked in on the M, not the D, the E, or the I, not the DEI or the DIE of dime. By that I mean the M, military, of the instruments of national power. We have entire departments across the government dedicated to diplomatic, informational, and economic lines of effort. We do the M. Nobody else does. And our GOFOs need to master it in every domain and every scenario. No more distractions, no more political ideologies, no more debris. Now, of course, we're going to disagree at times. We would not be Americans if we didn't. Being a leader in a large organization like ours means having frank conversations and differences of opinion. You will win some arguments and you will lose some arguments. But when civilian leaders issue lawful orders, we execute. We are professionals in the profession of arms. Our entire constitutional system is predicated upon this understanding.
While your commander-in-chief is constantly averting the Constitution, constantly going against the Constitution, has even himself said that he didn't care about the Constitution, that he would rip up the Constitution. While your commander-in-chief is trying to militarize within the United States against cities, against people. Of which some of these generals and admirals, some of these leadership is actually now starting to push back and say no. Which is what just happened in Illinois with the National Guard there, telling White House, no, we're not going to federalize. While you're having judges say that the president is going overboard and making decisions that are unconstitutional and against and over his ability.
Now, seems like a small thing, but it's not. This includes as well the behavior of our troops online. To that end, I want to thank and recognize the services for their new proactive social media policies. Use them. Anonymous, online, or keyboard complaining is not worthy of a warrior. It's cowardice masquerading as conscience. Anonymous, unit-level social media pages that trash commanders, demoralize troops, and undermine unit cohesion must not be tolerated. Again, O3s, E6s.
No free speech.
Sixth, we must train and we must maintain.
If it's against us, no free speech.
Any moment that we are not training on our mission or maintaining our equipment is a moment we are less prepared for preventing or winning the next war.
I guess that's the reason why
that is why
also
today, at my direction, we are
for
drastically reducing the ridiculous amount of mandatory training that individuals and units must execute. We've already ended the most egregious. Now we're giving you back real time. Less PowerPoint briefings and fewer online courses, more time in the motor pool, and more time on the range. Our job is to make sure you have the money, equipment, weapons, and parts to train and maintain, and then you take it from there. You all know this because it's common sense. The tougher and the higher the standards in our units, the higher the retention rates in those units. Warriors want to be challenged. Troops want to be tested. When you don't train and you don't maintain, you demoralize. And that's when our best people decide to take their talents to the civilian world. The leaders who created the woke department have already driven out too many hard chargers.
So I'm guessing he's saying that they're going to focus more on like on the job kind of training argument, that online courses and stuff like that, that's you don't learn anything from that. That's unnecessary. So we're going to, put you more in hands-on training, and that's going to be it. So we're going to give you less training to make you better.
Reverse that trend right now. There is no world in which high-intensity war exists without pain, agony, and human tragedy. We are in a dangerous line of work. You are in a dangerous line of work. We may lose good people. But let no warrior cry out from the grave, if only I had been properly trained. We will not lose warfighters because we failed to train or equip them or resource them. Shame on us if we do. Train like your warriors' lives depend on it. Because they do.
So train, point, but we're going to
basic training is being restored to what it should be. Scary, tough, and disciplined.
Scary,
we're
tough, and
empowering drill
disciplined.
sergeants to instill healthy fear in new recruits, ensuring
Healthy
that future
fear.
warfighters are forged. Yes, they can shark attack, they can toss bunks, they can swear, and yes, they can put their hands on recruits. This does not mean they can be reckless or violate the law,
put their hands
but they
on
can
recruits.
use tried and true methods to motivate new recruits.
Motivate.
To make them the warriors they need to be.
Listen to the words that he is
Back to
carefully
basics
using.
At basic as well. Of course, and you know this, basic training is not where mission readiness should end. The nature of the evolving threat environment demands that everyone, in every job, must be ready to join the fight if needed. A core credo of the Marine Corps is every Marine a rifleman. It means that everyone, regardless of MOS, is proficient enough to engage an enemy threat at sea, in the air, or in a so-called rear area. We need to ensure that every member of our uniformed military maintains baseline proficiency in basic combat skills, especially because the next war, like the last, will likely not have a rear area. Finally, as President Trump rightly pointed out when he changed the department name, the United States has not won a major theater war since the name was changed to the Department of Defense in 1947. One conflict stands out in stark contrast: the Gulf War. Why? Well, there's a number of reasons, but it was a limited mission with overwhelming force and a clear end state. But why did we execute and win the Gulf War the way we did in 1991? There's two overwhelming reasons. One was President Ronald Reagan's military buildup gave an overwhelming advantage. And two, military and Pentagon leadership had previous formative battlefield experiences. The men who led this department during the Gulf War were mostly combat veterans of the Vietnam War. They said never again to mission creep or nebulous end states. The same holds true today. Our civilian and military leadership is chock full of veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan who say never again to nation building and nebulous end states. This clear-eyed view, all the way in the White House, combined with President Trump's military buildup, postures us for future victories if, and we will, and when we embrace the War Department. And we must. We are preparing
that is so back and
every
forth.
day. We have to be prepared for war, not for defense. We're training warriors, not defenders. We fight wars to win, not to defend. Defense is something you do all the time. It's inherently reactionary and can lead to overuse, overreach, and mission creep. War is something you do sparingly, on our own terms, and with clear aims. We fight to win. We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country.
Wow.
No more.
We just do, just like all the bombings of the little boats and stuff in the Caribbean right now from Venezuela. We're just blowing them up. Don't worry about, trying to get any rules of engagement or anything. Don't worry about rules. There's a reason why we're defending a genocide right now in the Middle East. I mean, we don't care about rules. We don't care about rules. We're just gonna act. We're just gonna act, and we don't care. We don't care what you think. You're gonna like it. You're just gonna like it.
Politically correct and overbearing rules of engagement. Just common sense, maximum lethality, and authority for warfighters. That's all I ever wanted as a platoon leader. And it's all my E6 squad leaders ever wanted, back to that E6 rule. We let our leaders fight their formations, and then we have their back. It's very simple, yet incredibly powerful. A few months ago, I was at the White House when President Trump announced his Liberation Day for America's trade policy. It was a landmark day. Well, today is another Liberation Day. The liberation of America's warriors, in name, in deed, and in authorities. You kill people and break things for a living. You are not politically correct and don't necessarily belong always in polite society. We are not an army of one. We are a joint force of millions of selfless Americans. We are warriors. We are purpose-built, not for fair weather, blue skies, or calm seas. We were built to load up in the back of helicopters, 5 tons, or Zodiacs, in the dead of night, in fair weather or foul, to go to dangerous places, to find those who would do our nation harm, and deliver justice on behalf of the American people in close and brutal combat if necessary. You are different. We fight not because we hate what's in front of us. We fight because we love what's behind us. You see, the Ivy League faculty lounges will never understand us, and that's okay, because they could never do what you do.
It's amazing how you say we're going to be straightforward.
The media will mischaracterize us, and that's okay. Because deep down they know the reason they can do what they do
and yet
is you.
He just repeating himself about things
in this
over and over and
profession,
over again.
you feel comfortable inside the violence so that our citizens can live peacefully.
Just a whole word salad of
Lethality is our
stuff
calling
that's
card, and victory
unnecessary.
our only acceptable end
He
state.
could have cut this down to like 20 minutes.
In closing, a few weeks ago, at our monthly Pentagon Christian prayer service, I recited a commander's prayer. It's a simple yet meaningful prayer for wisdom for commanders and leaders. I encourage you to look it up if you've never seen it. But the prayer, it ends like this. And most of all, Lord, please keep my soldiers safe. Lead them, guide them, protect them, watch over them. And as you gave all of yourself for me, help me give all of myself for them. And amen. I have prayed this prayer many times since I've had the privilege of being your
Maybe not have them go to war. I'm just saying. I keep repeating that.
secretary. And I will continue to pray this prayer for each of you as you command and lead our nation's finest.
Calling this the War Department does not make you sound like you don't want to go to war. That's all I'm saying.
Go forth and do good things, hard things. President Trump has your back, and so do I. And you'll hear from him shortly. Move out and draw fire, because we are the War Department. Godspeed.
Room, attention.
Okay. All right. See, that was too long. I'm sorry. This video is really long. Probably one of the longest ones I've ever done. But I feel like it was important. I mean, that was, in my opinion, it was all, like I said, all about making I mean, you bring all these generals, admirals here. Like I said, they've devoted decades to service, learning skills and abilities to be able to do their job. Okay, this guy comes in who is barely even been in the military. You know, left the military, went into talk show stuff and everything. Like, this is the guy coming, and then he comes back and he's trying to tell these people how to do their job. He never became a general. He never became an admiral. But he's going to sit here and try to tell them how to do their job, for starters. All right. It's just disrespectful. He's going to tell them that they're not doing their job well enough, or at least some of them. They're fat, they're too woke, or whatever. And if they don't like it, if they don't like what he's saying, then they just need to walk on. Go somewhere else. Find another profession. Respectfully, thank you for your service, but we don't need you anymore because you don't meet our standards. The standards which he seemed to be very defined as basically a white man that looks like him. We're not going to be inclusive or help or, like, allow, make it. We're gonna make it as hard as possible for anybody else to get in here. We're gonna up the standards so that even women, the physical standards. Not everything about our military is physical. That's what's like. Not everything about it is physical. You don't even have to be super physical. I mean, that's the idea around all of the different, like, fighting techniques around the world, whether it's karate, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, whatever, like all these different, like, fighting that we all look up to, and, like, as far as some of the greatest at fighting abilities to be able to take, like, none of that is about being strong and powerful in order to handle it and do it. You don't even have to be strong or powerful physically to pull the trigger of a gun. Like, it's absurd to argue that, you have to meet some sort of super physical requirement in order to be successful in being a part of the military or doing any kind of, like, especially when half of our military now is drones and tanks and all these kinds of things, where you don't even have to have that much of a full-on like man army to take care of anything, like on boots on the ground. We don't even do boots on the ground that much anymore, because we have all this technology. And removing that, like, but no, we want to put all this stuff into place, because for me, at Pete Hegseth, I'm thinking that, if the best of us is strong, muscular, clean shaven, groomed, no nonsense white men. That's basically what he's saying. We're going to make sure that any kind of rules that, in his opinion, sort of makes it a little bit easier for anybody else to get into the military, or to be successful in the military, to be able to move up in the ranks in the military, for different, whatever, whether you're female, whether you're, black, Hispanic, or whatever, race, or what, like there will be nothing against you being able to move up ranking, to move into any department or anything like that. He doesn't. They're gonna if there's anything that's connected to possibly being fair in any kind of way, they're gonna remove it, do away with it. He said, "It's diversity does not make us stronger." That's what he said. Unity does. And what does he mean by unity? He means unity of white people. This is the white. This is a guy who has tattoos all over himself that are in the realm around Nazism and everything else, and fascism. And I mean, he doesn't. This is. Come on. A guy who is known for being a drunk alcoholic is going to come up in here, never became a general or admiral, never moved up like that. And he's going to come up in here and tell these people how they need to do their job better and be better, to make our warriors better, for us to have a better image. And make us a better, although we are already the best in the world, according to him. No nonsense, best, hands down. Perfect military. It was all about, this is a war department. We are ready to go to war. We want to be lethal, dangerous, vicious, in every way possible. We want no restrictions. We want nothing that can go against us. We want to be able to do whatever we want to do when we want to do it, without any pushback from anywhere, whether it's, people under us or people over us. We want to be able to do whatever we want to do. We want to be attacked when we want to attack. No restrictions. Shoot first, ask questions later. Bully first, ask questions later. Or just get away with it later. This is the type of mentality that we have over our military right now. The leadership over our military, like top leadership, I'm not speaking about these admirals and generals in this meeting, because many of them, if not most of them, I'm sure probably have a better opinion or a better idea around how their individual unit should work. Probably even understand the Constitution better than this guy and what their oath actually is to the Constitution, not to Donald Trump, not to a leadership, not to a ideology, which he stated over and over again. If you're not with us, then just you need to find somewhere else to go. You're not good enough for our military. They're doing everything they can to step backwards. Step backwards. They have this old school, old-timey mentality. The world has not changed. There's no need in trying to progress or be better. It's all about might. Might makes right. War makes peace. And damn the consequences. Damn, any destruction that we cause. Damn relationships. Damn civility or understanding. Damn compassion. Damn even evidence of why we're doing what we're doing. I know this is a very long video. Let me know what you think. This was just ridiculous in my opinion. And I think from looking at pictures and seeing even some stuff, like I said, coming out now where you have the National Guard in Illinois pushing back against Washington, saying that we're not going to federalize. We're not going to put our guard against civilians in our state. You have judges in Portland, in Oregon, stating that Trump trying to put to federalize the National Guard there is against the Constitution. And that the conditions there do not warrant that type of step. And yet he's threatening to, take other National Guard units to Portland, like from California, since they already, have been federalized, or some other places federalizing them and taking, sending other National Guards from other states to another state. That's something that it's not supposed to happen. Because he doesn't care about the rule of law. He doesn't care about protecting citizens. He thinks that anything that is against actions that he is taking, his administration is taking, a guy like this right here that we were just watching is taking, any kind of pushback against that is an enemy. It is the enemy within that he talks about. And so he's going to do whatever he can to take it out. Using our own military against us. This is what we've warned you about. This is the kind of thing that you argue all the time that you're worried about. But yet you're defending the guy. A lot of you are defending the guy who is actually doing these actions that you have been scared about and have argued that you were scared about happening. And he's actively doing it. But once again, it's not until it's actively done against you that you care. Let me know what you think about this. and what was said here, how do you feel that these generals and admirals, took this? Some of them may have been on board with it. I feel like probably fewer than more. Because like I said, I've seen pictures where there was generals that looked disgusted. Hands in their faces, like their face in their palms. Like, what? Like, these people were taken off of their posts, had to travel across the country to this location to be talked to by this guy as if they aren't doing their job good enough. And then being told that they were going to have to meet all these PT requirements themselves. But again, what about Trump? Is he going to have to meet these PT requirements? Oh, would I love to see a video of him trying. Anyways, thank you very much for joining me. And until next time, peace. ClearTalk. I'm out.